Hey guys, I'm Jackie Brubaker. I'm an author, a motivational and career coach, and host of That Girl the Podcast. Each week, I bring on a leader in their field to talk about how to stop making excuses and how you can start living your lifelong dream. That Girl the Podcast is based on That Girl the Novel, which is on Amazon to download or buy the paperback of. To find books, courses, and products from our episodes, check out the shop page at thatgirlcoaching.com. You can also follow us on Instagram at Jackie Brubaker and at That Girl the Podcast and our Patreon page. Sara, welcome.
Hello.
Hey, Sara Totten is back from The Good, the Bad, and the Ghosted podcast. She is going to talk about, she's going to talk with me about that girl summer, basically. We're going to talk about dating after COVID today. I'm very excited because you and I are both getting experience with this and all of the ups and the downs and the weirdness. But this whole summer series is going to be all about dating, relationships, all kinds of fun stuff. So if you are going to the beach or going to the pool and you need something to listen to that's funny and insightful, but like gets you like up for summer, this is it.
This is the place to be.
This is the place to be. So how has dating been going for you?
Well, I actually, not unfortunately for me, but I'm now in a relationship. So I'm no longer the single girl, but it's going good though. It's going very, very good. It's somebody that I met a long time ago and we've just kind of started dating. I hope it's not too noisy because I've got my doors open because it's very hot in London right now.
No, it's actually...
Our houses don't have air conditioning, so...
No, you're good. You're good.
Tasty.
So actually the last time you were on, you had started dating someone. Is this the same person?
Yes, it is, yeah. I know.
Hey,
it's happened.
Love is happening, guys. It is possible. Oh my God.
I know. Miracles happen.
They do happen. Oh, that's so cool. So
yeah.
Okay. So
but what about you? What's been going on with you? How's your dating life?
My dating life exists finally.
Yay. Tell me all about it. I'm intrigued.
Yeah. I was on a little sabbatical there. I was like, I hate this, which I do. I take big, long breaks of dating because it's just so hard. It's so mentally and emotionally and even physically just difficult to be out there.
I think that's such a good thing to do though, just to like for yourself and for like your mental health and everything like that. I think I really advocate for doing that because, you know, we've spoken, I think, about it before on previous episodes where like, you know, you can't date or find somebody if you're not happy in yourself. So if you're just like completely draining yourself and tiring yourself out trying to find somebody and you're not happy, it's never going to go well. So I think you always need to be in the right place before you start looking for somebody to date.
Absolutely. And like what I was coming across was I'm like, no, I'm in a good spot. I'm in a good spot with myself and my brain and my heart. But what I was coming across was that there are so many people who aren't. And so you're running into them. And I would just find like my self-worth would just like go down because you're just being treated poorly. Even in just the beginnings of conversations, you're just like, oh, wow, no thanks. And even if you're like, okay, bye, like never speak to you again, it still kind of like creates like a little dent. And you're like, ouch, just like this is
100%.
so and I think that's what happens with dating fatigue too, where I will go on like a dating app for like a week or two at max. And if nothing comes out of it, I just jump right back off because I'm like, I don't want to just sit here kind of dealing with people that I, A, don't want to give time to, and B, don't really care to get to know, hoping that, and they always say, you know, it's a numbers game, right? Like you have to just keep going out on a bunch of dates. And I do have a goal for this summer. My summer dating goal is to go on 25 actual dates by the end of September.
I love this.
Right?
That's amazing. What a fun thing to do.
Yeah. So like today's date 3 of the 25 and it's in less than a week. So I'm feeling
good. What happens if you actually meet somebody though in that? So are these like individual dates or are these like could be dates with the same person?
They could be dates with the same person, which is what I'm hoping for.
Yeah.
I'm hoping for that.
25 individual dates. That's quite the score.
Right. I mean, if it does turn into that, that would be hilarious. 2 of them are by the same person at this point, but I think it's just because I was in such a place of like, oh my gosh, all these guys are just awful. And like, I don't have conversations with them. What
Yeah.
happened was I took a step back and I was like, you know what? I'm really going to go in with no expectations now. I am really going to swipe on people. I wouldn't like totally analyze overtly and just be like,
Mhm.
okay, maybe you're like kind of slightly like not what I usually go for, but like you have kind eyes. You don't look insane. Let's just see what happens, you know?
The bar is always super, super low, right?
Super,
You're not
super
mental.
low.
Let's go out with you.
Right. Like, do you look like a serial killer? Not really. Let's just try
Yeah.
having a conversation and see what happens. And I
Yeah.
think that's what's made this go around a little bit more successful is that I'm actually
Mhm.
trying to be a little bit more open and
Yeah.
just having conversations to have them. And if they go
Mhm.
south, it's like, okay, bye. And I'm not taking anything
Yeah.
personally and I'm not putting a lot of expectation on anything.
Mhm.
And I think that happens by choosing people that you are still like, oh, okay, well, I wouldn't mind spending time with you, but like you're different from what I would normally be like, oh, on a chart,
Yeah.
this is what I would choose. And I think
Exactly.
that's
That's the
helpful.
thing though. I think like so many people go out into the dating world with a list of things that they're looking for and like these check boxes. And obviously, you're not just going to date any Tom, Dick and Harry just for the sake of it.
Right.
But you're never going to find the perfect person that ticks every single box that you have on your list. So I think it is important, somebody who, I think again, we've spoken about it before in previous episodes where I think sometimes you have this expectation of what you think the person you're going to be with is, but you keep on going out with this kind of same person and it's not going anywhere. Yes. So sometimes you just need to go down a slightly different avenue, but you obviously still need to make sure that, you get on well, they have a good personality, they make you laugh and, those kind of things. Because at the end of the day, I mean, I'm a firm believer that personality is so, so far above everything else because looks fade at the end of the day, right? So absolutely. I think having that person that makes you laugh and that, you get on well with and you have conversation with, and that grows sometimes as well. I think I personally have been very guilty of going on a first date with somebody and just thinking, no, there's no spark, I don't feel the chemistry, and then just never speaking to them again. But my dad actually, funny enough, has always said, like, sometimes you just need to give it another go and go on that second date. And if you still feel the same, okay, fine. But at least you gave it a go because you never know what might happen from that situation. Because some people, on first dates, people get nervous. So you're never going to get the whole rounded idea of who somebody is. So I think it is a good idea, I think, sometimes to go outside of your comfort zone and, maybe pursue something with somebody that you think isn't, always going to be your type on paper.
I completely agree with that. And people are nervous. You're nervous. Sometimes you feel fine. Sometimes you're just a wreck and you're not giving your best self either. And I do think that people just like cut people off so quick. And I mean, now listen, like within reason, right? Like if this person is clearly, giving you red flags or signs of like,
obviously,
like I had a video chat with someone and I was like, oh, you're just clearly misogynist. Cool. All right. Never again. Like never talking again. Sure. I mean, that is one thing. But like if you, like you said, you go out with someone and you don't immediately feel the chemistry, but like the personality's there and the conversation's there, it's important to do it again because you will get a different side of them.
I think the question marks, if you will, I think are people that you should give another chance to just in case. But like you said, if there are people who are definitely an absolute fuck no, then that's absolutely fine. Don't see them again. But I think just, sometimes give people the benefit of the doubt.
I think so too. Okay. So let's talk about COVID.
Yeah.
We are opening up. What is it like in London right now? Are you guys opening up more? What's the situation?
Yeah. So things are definitely opening up. So like bars and restaurants are all open. You're allowed to meet, a group of people outside. And I think you're allowed, to have people inside your home now as well. And I think we're supposedly edging towards a complete, they're calling it the Freedom Day on the 21st of June, where basically all rules and everything are being like discarded. And there's, apart from, I think, potentially obviously continuing to wear face masks and stuff like that.
Okay.
But other than that, everything is going to go back to normal, fingers crossed. But, at the moment it's okay. What about you guys? How are things there?
We're better. A lot of people are not wearing masks outside, which seems normal.
Yeah.
But it was also just like, oh, I guess we're just not doing this anymore. Some people do,
Yeah.
some people don't.
Yeah.
Still, it's funny because like you'll go into a restaurant wearing a mask, then you'll be seated, you take the mask off. But if you have to go
Yeah.
to the
I find that we
restroom,
do that here. It's so strange.
right? Like, but if you have to go to the restroom, you have to put your mask back on. And like, oh,
Yeah.
okay. I
Yeah.
mean,
And that's obviously, I mean, that's something that we can come on to. But I like found when I was kind of dating before I was with my now boyfriend during COVID or like the beginning of COVID, like dating and then like turning up and like you're both wearing masks, like it's a little bit awkward. But like I said, we can potentially touch on that a little bit later on. But
yeah, I mean, the mask thing it is what it is. I mean, sometimes you're like happily surprised, and then sometimes you're like, oh,
put
that's
it
what
back
you look
on.
like. Right. This up was great.
Yeah.
But what about like, so what I'm finding a lot is people are like, so are you vaccinated? And if so, which one did you get? And I'm like, oh, okay.
Great
What?
conversation opener.
It's so funny. Like, this is truly how the conversation goes. Are you vaccinated? Yes or no? And then you say whatever you say. And then they're like, oh, I'm vaccinated. I got the Moderna or I got the Pfizer. And then they want to tell you their story of getting vaccinated. It's like, without a doubt, they're like, the first shot, I was fine. My arm hurt. Like everything we know, right? Like everything the CDC is like, this is what'll happen. And the second time I felt really sick. I'm like, great. Yeah. That's how
honestly,
it
I
goes.
guess like what for the last like, year and a half or however long it's been, people haven't been living their life. So that honestly is the best that people can come up with.
Right.
People are working from home, they're not going out, they're not going on holiday.
Right.
So what else do you have to talk about apart
Absolutely.
from getting vaccinated?
Absolutely. It is the highlight of so many people's lives.
I know.
But what's interesting, so I haven't been vaccinated and I'm just kind of waiting because I just kind of want to wait. I'm not like I don't have to actually go to work. So I'm kind of like, well, but I mean, I'm leaning obviously towards just getting it. But that's an interesting conversation too, when people are like, oh, why? And I'm like, oh, I'm just kind of waiting for kinks to be worked out, it's still new. And then I feel kind of judged sometimes.
Oh, absolutely. I think it's almost like, I mean, I can imagine it's the same over there as well. But here, talking about, say, like politics with somebody, it's always such like a muddy subject because somebody who might have really, really strong views, and if you have differing views, you end up getting in this like huge back and forth thing, and at the end of the day, nobody wants to talk about politics, but it's kind of like the similar thing, right? Because everyone has their views, everyone's going to do what they want to do. If some people are going to agree, some people aren't. But I think with something like this, it's almost best just to keep it off the table. Obviously, if they're concerned and they want to check that you're vaccinated to keep things safe, that's fine. But I think delving into like the deeper side of things, it's just not worth the conversation because it's just unnecessary, to be honest.
And I feel though that like when I'm swiping, I'm seeing people be very adamant about the political side of this. Yes, they're like fully vaxxed. If you're this, and this, like swipe whatever. So there is, at least in the States, I feel there's a lot of judgment happening. And we are very divided right now. I mean, it's a mess. It's a mess over here. But it is kind of an interesting way to, whereas before, like, if you went traveling and you wanted to get like your hepatitis vaccine, like no one's going to judge you for it. They're going to be like, great. But now it's like, if you decide to,
such a huge subject.
Right. If you decide to, then you're leaning this way in in politics. And if you decide not to, you're leaning another way. And I'm like, that's not true at all. Like, it's still a physical thing happening. Like, I'm just waiting. It's, I'm just kind of, I'm the type of person, I'm very in the middle where I'm like, I just like information. And there's a lot of information, absolutely. And a lot of research, but like on my own personal front, I'm like, I'm just going to give it a minute, because
100%. And I'm with you, to be honest. I mean, they're really pushing the vaccine rollout in the UK and they've done really well with it. I'm actually getting mine next week, but I'm kind of, there have been, news stories about, the effects that it has had on people. And it does make you think, oh gosh, like, should I maybe wait? Because obviously, I obviously don't want to be like a spreader, but, I personally want to make sure I'm safe and healthy and everything like that. But I just think, everyone else is getting it. So it's a very up in the air subject, I think, at the moment.
Yeah. In California, they're actually giving away prizes if you get your vaccination. Like if you show up, Yeah, it's crazy. I thought I was mistaken watching this commercial. It was like, if you show up for this, like, area where they're giving vaccinations, you have the chance to win $50,000.
Oh my God.
I was like,
that's mad.
What is that?
As if they have to do that to get people to show up. That's crazy.
That's totally what's happening right now. And I'm like, it's funny because like there's a huge crop of people who want to get vaccinated and have, we're like, oh my gosh, can't wait. And then there's a huge crop that's like, we're just going to wait. And I'm like in the middle where I'm just like, well, and like my thing is like, unless I'm traveling internationally or I get on a show where they're like, yeah, you're going to be dancing with a bunch of people. Like you have to do this. I'd be like, okay, but in the meantime, I'm like, yeah. So that is very,
I don't blame you.
Yeah. Like that is the very interesting thing. And like, again, I live in Los Angeles, so it's very, very, left over here too. So it's like, even if you are, like I'm an independent because I really love just sitting in the middle. I want to hear everything, but I do lean more democratic, but I'm like, oh my gosh. Anywho, so COVID is weird and it is definitely affecting the dating realm.
Absolutely.
What about if you're like dating someone and they do catch a cold or they do get sick? Like, would you automatically be like, oh my God, it's COVID?
I think this is the hard thing, right? Because I think everyone's kind of under that assumption. I think, over here, especially, if you have any of the symptoms or if you're just feeling under the weather, it's very much like isolate for 10 days or 2 weeks. And, that's it. And I think that is a really, really difficult thing because obviously if you do start dating somebody or you're about to go on a date with them and they say, it happened, last year, because obviously we've been living in this for a long time now. And somebody was like, I think I was meant to go on a date with somebody the night after. And they were like, oh, I've woken up with, a bit of a runny nose and like a bit of a fever. So I'm going to get myself a test. I had to postpone it. And then it just kind of like, and I think with dating, maybe not so much now, but before COVID, it moves very, very quickly. So, it's because I think generally these days people have more than one person on the go or are talking to multiple people at a time. It's difficult to kind of, it sounds so bad, but it's hard to keep somebody's attention. Do you know what I mean? Or give somebody all of your attention if you are talking to other people. So, if you are talking to somebody or you arrange to go on a date with them and they say, oh, I'm not feeling very well, I'm going to get a test, and they do get it or they're going to isolate, then, chances are, do you maybe get a little bit bored by the time it's time to see them? Do you know what I mean? Like that sounds really harsh, but it moves so fast that, you've maybe started talking to somebody else and being on a date with somebody else and they're just kind of out of the picture.
No, that actually just happened. They didn't get sick, but they're like, oh, I'm going to be busy for the next like week and a half. And I'm like, all right, well, I guess this is over. I'm like, you can reach out, but like, otherwise, you're dead to me. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
But it feels that way. It really does. Cause that is the perfect way of putting it. It just moves so fast. And like, when you don't know these people, especially if you're still on the app talking to them, like they're just pictures, and some text, like you really don't know who they are and if you even want to invest anything into them. So yeah, it is very easy to. And I think that's nice to hear too for women who were like, oh, I don't know, he was so great. Like we were chatting, then he just like fell off the face of the earth. It's because there's so many other people in their queue that they're talking to.
Absolutely. Yeah. And again, I kind of think this is something we touched on with like the whole breadcrumbing thing when we spoke in our last episode. And it is very much that sometimes it's not a case of these people, be like wanting to purposely, treat you badly or they're bad people. Sometimes it is just, and it's happened with me and I haven't wanted to hurt anybody's feelings or, make those bad moves. But sometimes you just end up talking to somebody else and it just kind of like, it just slowly disappears or it just, and that's fair enough. But I think, it is very difficult. And I very much or was the kind of dater that, as soon as I kind of got a nice vibe from somebody or we've exchanged a few messages and I thought, right, we're probably going to get on. It would be nice to meet them and speak in person. I would want to have a turnover of, a couple of days. So rather than, I've got some friends who prefer to speak for a couple of weeks and then they'll meet up or because people are busy. And so they'll exchange like the niceties back and forth. But I don't want to get to know somebody for 3 weeks over text message. I want to find out, again, like we said, you're not a murderer, you don't seem like a serial killer. Let's go for a drink and actually talk and get to know each other face to face. Because doing it over text, like, you're just, I don't know, it just loses its vibrance and it's just not as fun. And then when you meet up, you think, actually, what the hell are we going to talk about? Because we've kind of touched on it all over text message the weeks before.
Yes.
So
yes, I completely agree. So what I'm doing now is I'm doing video chats first. Like, oh, we've texted a little. It's great. Like, text, cool. Like, a little bit, like, enough to be like, okay. And then I'm like, no phone calls, video chats only. I want to see how you and I are like moving and talking and all of this stuff.
Yeah.
And then if that goes well, then I meet them in person. But I am so with you. And I've always been on that train of, I don't understand people who want to talk to you for weeks. Cause I'm like, you seem non-committal because you're just breadcrumbing, basically. You're just like talking to someone and it's feeling nice and all, but you don't actually want to like commit to seeing that person. Which means you probably
and it's almost just for them, just, if they're bored or, they've got no plan, they just use you as a bit of like, passing the time.
Right.
Whereas if you're the person on the other side and you're investing time into it and you think, you're going to meet up, it's just, I think just a really dodgy way to do it. So I think I'm very much, but I mean, actually, I love the fact that you're doing video chats first or like video dates first, because I think it's almost like a pre-date date. So you kind of like, iron out the sort of, the creases, find out if you are going to get on, and then you meet up in person. So I think that's a really good way to do it.
It is the best new coffee date. I mean, you can still grab coffee for your first date, but like, it is the best way. Cause like, and also again, with like what you were saying, like, I don't want to talk about all of this big stuff over text or even over like, in our first date, like, let's just kind of like talk about some stuff, be like, cool. Let's like pick that up on our second date.
Exactly.
I don't know. I feel that it does fizzle when you talk about so much stuff in text.
100%.
I hate texting to begin with, unless I'm really tired at the end of the day and I actually don't want to talk to someone on the phone. I'm like, okay, I'll text a little bit with you. But like most of the time I'm just like annoyed by it. And that's the other thing.
Totally in your camp. Yeah.
Right. Like that's the other thing. I just get annoyed by people who want to keep talking to me if they don't want to like make real plans. I'm like, I have no time for you. Like I basically have no time for anyone who isn't important enough to live in my life, even if it's just temporarily.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. And I think that's just the best way to go, is to just kind of, distinguish between who those people are and get rid of the ones who are obviously wasting your time. If they're not good, if they don't want to meet up with you in person, within the first week, they probably aren't going to want to meet up with you in the second week or the third week or the fourth week. So it's best just not to drag it along unnecessarily and spin them off and concentrate on somebody or other people who are going to want to basically invest their time in you. That's the most important thing at the end of the day.
Absolutely. So what do you think about having a bunch of guys you're talking to? Do you think you should keep swiping and keep matching? Or do you think you should, like, if you're, talking to like 8 guys, like, or you've matched with 8 guys, which is typically kind of what happens with me, or I'm like, okay, here's like 8 people. Like, that's plenty. Let me just,
everyone comes along at once.
right. Let me just like talk with all you people. Like, let's see who drops off, which of course they do. They're excited at first and then they're like, boop, bye. Yeah. And then like, the cream rises to the top. You're like, cool, let me just talk to you now. Do you think that, because what I've been doing is like, that's what I do. And then when people start to drop off, I'm like, okay, let me just do a little swiping, just a little swiping. And like, let me see who I match up with, and kind of do it little by little instead of just chronic swiping. I mean, how do you feel about that? What do you usually do? Or what did you do?
I think at the end of the day, I think it's really important to do what's best for you. I know that sounds really, really cliche, but it's true. There are some people who are going to want to put all their eggs in one basket and don't have the ability to talk to several people at once or date multiple people at the same time. And that's completely fine. If you feel more comfortable spending your time on one person, but with the expectation that, it might not go anywhere, that, it's not going to end in marriage, then, that's, I think, a good way to do it if that's what works for you. But if you're somebody who can juggle talking to multiple people and date multiple people at the same time, I think as long as you're clear with your boundaries with those people, depending obviously how many dates you go on with them, you want to make sure that it's clear that, you are dating other people, you're not exclusive to the one person, to make sure that, boundaries are respected and there is like a respectful relationship there. then, that's absolutely fine too. I think dating these days, there's no rules as long as there's you maintain respect. I think that's the most important thing.
Right. And that's, I think, the hard thing for a lot of people too, is having the courage to be like, hey, so I am dating other people. I am not available to talk every day. I think
that's just being open and honest about it. I think is just the best way, because then that's how you then, whittle down those people that you're talking to. Because, if a guy was to say that to you and say, look, I'm dating a few different people, I'm really enjoying talking to you and hanging out with you, and I'd like to continue that. But if you're not comfortable with my kind of current setup, then, I will leave the decision kind of up to you. What a perfect way to do it, because, it's being put, the control's being put in your hands, and you can say, well, to be honest, I'm only talking to you. And, if you're not willing to commit to me or give me your time, then I think it's best if I kind of, this is my out. But if you're also talking to multiple people and dating multiple people, you can be like, cool, that's absolutely fine. I'm in the same situation. So there's just clear views going on. So what each other's doing. And then eventually if, once it whittles down and, you're only talking to each other, then perfect. But I think it's best just start with an honest, open conversation, so you both know where you stand.
And I think that's a great place to end, because that topic alone of really figuring out, is this person serious about you? Are you serious about this person? Mm-hmm. Should you be dating multiple people while you're still really into one person? I think that's a great topic that we can really
absolutely. Yeah. Honestly, I've said it to you before, when it comes to dating and certain topics, there's so many different roads off each thing. I could honestly talk about it for days.
And we will have many episodes. I'm very excited.
No, I can't wait. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Sara. It is always such a pleasure seeing you and talking to you.
Too.
Everyone, you can actually, you tell everyone where they can find you.
So you can find my podcast, The Good, the Bad and the Ghosted. It's on Apple, Spotify, basically anywhere where you get your podcasts and you listen to them. And my Instagram is the same, where I post a few different things on there about dating and relationships.
Yay. And all of her links will be in the description below. Thank you, Sara. I am so glad that your relationship. You're so welcome. I'm so glad your relationship's going well.
Thank you. Yes.
It gives us hope. Gives us all hope.
I know, right? If I can do it, anybody can.
Right. Thanks so much for listening to the podcast. Remember, sharing is caring. Make sure to rate the podcast and leave a review. We really rely on this to help get the podcast out there. Also, make sure to watch the video version on YouTube at That Girl the Podcast.